It's pushing the NASDAQ higher, but the NASDAQ is still on pace for its worst month since December and on track to snap its 5-month win streak. But our next guest says don't give up on the tech trade. He sees a good buying opportunity here. For today's Tech Check, we welcome in Paul Meeks, portfolio manager at Independent Solutions Wealth Management. Paul, welcome to you. What key levels are you watching?
Not necessarily any key levels on either the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, or the tech-dominated NASDAQ 100. What I've seen is, there were a number of tech stocks that deserve to have big 2023 ramps, and there were a number of tech stocks that probably were frauds that didn't deserve it. And so, unfortunately, the whole sector got grossly overbought, and now we're starting to see some reality. We're starting to see some consolidation. And I actually think that consolidation might continue a bit further. Just as your reporter said, a really big report for NVIDIA a week from Wednesday, that would be August 23. But the pendulum never stops in the middle. I think that we could have continued tech weakness. I don't necessarily see a buying opportunity today, particularly not in NVIDIA when the stock is up 6% on the session. But I do see a decent buying opportunity coming in select tech names, and pretty soon.
I'd love to hear which names you like, and if you could tell us which ones are fraud, please, that would be great too.
Yeah. Well, I don't necessarily mean accounting fraud, financial fraud, but I think there's a number of AI wannabes that are jumping on this theme, just like folks jumped on .com back in 1999. But as far as the ones that I like, among the mega caps, among the FANGs, I do expect to see continued upside in NVIDIA. We just mentioned that. Amazon and Meta. Now, there's a couple of value plays that are smaller cap names, except for one, AT&T. But then you have Supermicro, SMCI, and Harmonic, HLIT, that are companies that haven't done that much wrong, but their stocks have been crushed on their most recent reports. And so I see a combination of tech values, and let's keep on going with some of the biggest beneficiaries I see long-term in AI, some of those mega tech names.
Well, some of those mega tech names conspicuously absent include Microsoft and Google. Why?
I own those names, but not in the same size. Microsoft, I think, is one of those companies that really probably got overwhelmed by the AI hype. And when they announced their quarter, yes, they had some interesting things to say about AI. They definitely will be a future leader there. However, unfortunately, they came to the dance since the 1980s by selling software for PCs. And consumer electronics, both the personal computer market and the smartphone market, will continue to be under pressure for a while. And so that really negatively impacts Microsoft with their legacy business. As far as Alphabet, I think Alphabet is okay, but I don't like it as much as an AI play as I do the other favorites that I mentioned earlier.
Other chip companies that you like, I mean, you mentioned NVIDIA, and there were a couple of others. Run back through that roster, if you don't mind.
Of course, the semiconductors will be enablers to the AI revolution. So if you like NVIDIA and you believe that AMD, Advanced Micro Devices, can execute, I think they can under Dr. Lisa Su, who may be the best CEO in all of Silicon Valley. Those are two semiconductor names to keep an eye on. I also think Micron, though I wouldn't buy it today because it's up explosively, will be interesting because Micron dominates, with only 4 companies in the world, memory chips, and AI applications will have a voracious demand.
Anywhere else, Paul, that you're peaking that people haven't, it hasn't been as much consensus? Because the Micron angle is an interesting one.
Yeah, I think Microsoft, I've stayed away from. Apple, I've stayed away from. Micron, I do like, right? The stock has already started to pop a little bit, about to $70 per share. But yes, they had a disastrous past year or so with too much supply, not enough demand. Remember that Micron and some of the other memory companies do sell into some of those same pesky consumer applications like smartphones and PCs. But the AI driver for Micron over time, not necessarily today, will be unmistakable.
All right, Paul, thank you very much for your information and insight. We appreciate it. Paul Meeks.
Yes, sir.